for me, that signing makes a lot of sense for Tottenham. Even if he wasn't starting week in, week out. I know some
right? How welcome would he be in the dressing room since he humiliated your players by bashing them up and getting sent off? Like,
you're this is why I say you're deluded. That's why I say you're deluded, because your memory of things is hazy, because we literally want him. We want that talent because of what he was doing to us in the first half. He gets the ball, he goes.
No, I'm talking about what he did to you when he got sent off and he got the red and your players were like,
yeah. So then how
like
is that? How is that embarrassing? How is that embarrassing to us? He got.
Did you not see the way they? Did
he got sent off? He got sent off, and we won the game 4-1. We were already 3-1 up when he got sent off. How the hell does that?
I don't know, man. As a man, I don't see how them players could go and look their children in the eyes after getting.
Lawless, they've done it before. Lawless, they've done it before.
I mean?
Brennan Johnson beat up Richarlison at the City Ground. They went and bought him in the summer. So,
How do your players look their partners and their fellow squad members in the eye when they're walking out on the pitch and they're supporting a club that blows fucking bubbles in the air?
What is this all about? The blow bubble? What's wrong?
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. So you're talking about our players potentially being emasculated by a scrap. It happens. People fight. It happens. It means nothing.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the way it's you know what it is? Fights happen, you win, lose fights. It's not like if you win or lose a fight, it's how you lose. It's how you go down. You go down swing, you go down like a man. They went down like just little bitches, like weak. They went down. That's what I'm saying. So I'll just say that.
No way. The players went down. No way. They went down so easy. What did it lead to?
So we're admitting to being cheats now, are we?
What did it lead to? No, it was a legitimate red card, but I'm saying the players are going to put more dip on the chip. It was a legitimate red card. But what did it lead to? It led to a red card in a game where we were 3-1 up, and we end up winning the game 4-1, and we probably should have won the game about 5 or 6-1. So I don't really understand why that would be an issue for Kudus coming to our club. That's so stupid. It doesn't make sense.
Well, can I ask you on that point, Tobs? You said you would play him on the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with Jono?
Yeah.
We had
backup winger, I guess. Backup winger now.
He'll play in rotation. He'll play in rotation, or he'll play him off the left.
So your top goal scorer, the only person to hit double digits in the league for you, you're going to take off 11 goals. Where are you getting those 11 goals back from?
What do you mean where we getting those 11 goals back from?
Well, you're negative 11 by putting him as the bench or rotation. Who else going to get you those 11?
Spoiler alert, right? Spoiler alert. Maybe because you haven't been watching us, because you've been in the championship for the majority of the time since we've been doing YouTube, right? But spoiler alert: Brennan Johnson is not the first, nor is he going to be the last person to score double figures at Tottenham. Yeah,
right? He was the only one, to score double for you.
One sec. Yeah. Last season, because players had a down year, and he wasn't the only player to score double figures. Kulusevski hit double figures, and Madison hit double figures. If you're talking about in the league, yes, but in the league we had a striker that cost 65 million quid that didn't have a good season, right? I'm not expecting Solanke to finish with 9 goals next season. The same way, I'm not expecting the likes of Tell or whoever to finish with 1 goal next season. I'm expecting an improvement in all of our attackers, right? That's why we've hired Thomas Frank. We've hired a manager who works well with players. So Brennan Johnson is not going to be the only player that's scoring for Tottenham. You make a really good point. Yes, he's got an ability to score goals. We're playing Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, and the Super Cup. So there's going to be football. There's going to be games for Brennan Johnson to start. I'm not asking for Kudus to play all 60 games. Yeah, there are going to be games where Brennan Johnson, unfortunately, will have to start. And if he starts, I hope he scores. But us signing Kudus, I think it's a negative mindset to say, oh, what happened to Johnson? No. The best clubs, they don't look at football like that. They look at pushing their best players of the previous season to the bench, because that's how you make a competitive squad.
No, I get that, but as long as you think your return from Kudus will be higher than that.
No, not really. But again, you're missing the point. Our attack was too rigid. It was too dysfunctional last season. It was predicated on one man arriving at the back stick. it only benefited one man. Our other attackers suffered. We're getting a manager now who's going to cater for the strengths of all of our attackers, not just one. So, yes, Brennan Johnson may score, 10 goals next season, but if it means Solanke scoring 15, Tell scoring 9, 10, Odegaard scoring 8, 10, Maddison scoring 10, that's a much more functional attack. We're less reliant on one player scoring all.
Do you expect Solanke to step up and get 15 in the league, or are you just saying in general?
He scored 19 for Bournemouth. He had
but that's
a
in a different play style, Tobs. That's in a more defensive play style where he had grass to work.
How were Bournemouth more defensive under Iraola? That's bullshit.
That doesn't even make sense. No, they were.
How?
In his time. What Spurs? What you think Bournemouth are more attacking than Spurs?
No, I didn't say that. You literally just said they were more defensive. Bournemouth,
they are. They're set up on a press in a defensive counter-attack style. That's how Bournemouth play.
Brother, you said Bournemouth were defensive. I'm saying to you, right, that's not true because they don't play defensive football. They may do certain things different to Tottenham, but Bournemouth are not known for playing defensive football. And again, I don't even know what that means for Solanke. Like, he's not a player who's thriving on transitions. Just put the ball in the air and let him attack it. Put the ball in the air and create chances. He needs to do more as a striker to get himself in goal-scoring positions, but we need to do more to find Solanke. Our issue isn't because of the style of football we played. Our issue is because we had a manager who felt that Solanke should do his best work outside of the box. That's dumb.
Let me ask you this then, right? Question for both Tobs and Wolfie, then I want to bring Ches and Lawless in on this same question. Looking at the way things are right now, who has a better future going into next season, Spurs or Nottingham Forest?
Forest.
Be serious, man.
Next question.
Be serious, please.
I'll see you in the championship next year, bro. Honestly.
You'll see me in the championship next year. What? Chelsea getting relegated?
Be serious, man. I'm not even.
That literally makes no sense. You'll see me in the championship next season.
You're a disgrace for asking that question.
It's a genuine question. I think it's a genuine debate.
I'm not even going to dignify that question with a result.
Who cares?
I'm not going to
dignify it with an answer, Tobes. Just to get to where we are, you need to improve by 10 positions. In fact, your best chance of doing that is to study what we did to go from 17th to 7th. Yeah. You're not going to jump 10 places in the league just by signing. Who have you signed so far? Tell. Even if you got Kudus in, that's not enough for you to jump 10 places.
Did you find out what Forest's form was the last 10 games of the season, by the way?
How about we look at the last 38? Okay.
I'll be interested to see that stat.
How about we look at the last 38? Because last time I checked, football's played over a season. Positions are decided on a season.
Yeah, you missed out on Champions League by being there the longest time. So things happen.
So we missed out. You didn't earn it. All right, that's cool. That's cool.
To confirm.
Wait. Did we miss out or did you earn it?
What's this got to do with Chelsea? I'm talking about Forest.
No, that's what I'm saying. Did we miss out or did you earn it from us?
We're talking about Forest. And we beat you in the last game of the season.
It's still about Forest.
You know, if we didn't beat you, this is how I know you're silly. If we didn't beat you, you still would have made it, by the way. Because Villa lost.
So if you didn't beat us and we beat you, we would have made it.
If we didn't win and we drew, if we didn't score that goal and we drew 0-0, we still would have made Champions League football.
Yeah, and if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle, bro.
You still made it either way, and you didn't. So I don't know why you're bringing Chelsea involved.
Like, you're doing all ifs, buts. I'm bringing Chelsea in because you said, I'll see you.
So funny.
The thing is, it's not that
why Chris Wood's going to get another 20 goals. If Murillo's going to stay. It gives
Murillo's just signed a new contract. We've just signed Igor Jesus. We're about to sign a crap more players. Like, what are you saying?
So you think you could finish Champions League next season then?
Ask me at the end of the window when I see what we're brought in.
As it stands, no.
So why is it? As
it stands now, as it stands, Forest, I would expect to push for European spots again.
So you do expect that, yeah?
But Tobs is about to ask an interesting question, though. Like, how, even though it's not the end of the window, how can you say you got a brighter future than Spurs?
Yeah, how can you be so definitive when it comes
because
to
Spurs have brought no new player in. You've technically signed Tell.
It's just early July. It's literally just July.
You just
Like,
asked me as it stands. You just asked me as it stands.
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you as it stands. Again,
You didn't listen to the
you're-
question.
Well, Lawless just said, did you not, Lawless, say as it
You're doing
stands?
this thing where you're saying something and then you're pretending like as if
Okay,
I've said
what
it.
is the question from Lawless not as it stands?
You made a definitive
No,
statement.
this is a question. A different question.
You made a definitive statement about Tottenham. That's what you did, right? And then when Chess asked you about your prospects, you said, "Ask me at the end of the window." So
And
why are you so
even more
sure?
cheeky? When I said before about selling 5 wingers, what was he telling me? How can you guarantee that? You can't speak about the future, and now you want to guarantee things.
Wait, what did I guarantee? What did I guarantee?
Answer the question. Lawless asked you. Just answer it.
Wait, what did I
Drake's
guarantee?
got a- Drake's
What
got
did
a
I
line.
guarantee?
Bro.
Drake. Actually,
Lawless,
look,
ask him the question again, because I don't think he heard you.
No one's here about shitty Drake. But no.
Drake's got a line. Drake's got a line. It's so funny. He says, "Bench players talking like starters. I hate it." And that's what this guy's doing right now. You. How old are you? How old are you?
23.
23.
Double that.
This is the last 3 years is the first. Bro, you were elated at the prospect of even seeing your team play Premier League football. Now that you've taken another big jump into Conference League, because that's where you are. You're not even in Europa League. You're in Conference
Slash Europa.
Nope,
Wait,
you're
have
in
you
Conference
even
League
seen
until
the trophy?
there's a verdict on Crystal Palace. You're in Conference League, and you're talking as if like the Premier League, your position last year is set. You should, maybe you don't know this because you've not been in the Premier League long enough the last 20 years, but the Premier League is so unpredictable. It is so unpredictable. West Ham went from 6th to 14th, right? Arsenal went from 8th to 5th. You went from like 16th to like 7th. So if you can do it, you with no offense, a bang average squad, why are you telling other clubs with squads comparable to yours in quality or better than yours in quality that they can't do the same? Why?
Well, firstly, you just miss out the examples of Newcastle and Villa, who were both in the championships and are now consistently fighting for Europe. So pulling out a West Ham or a Spurs, I can pull out a Villa and a Newcastle for you.
You haven't done it back to back yet, Wolfie. You can't say shit until you do it back to back in the league. You're up there.
Okay, we'll sit here and talk about that at the end of the next season. But Forest are not losing any of their star boys. Forest are going to strengthen, and Forest are already better than Spurs based on the evidence of last season in the league.
You're not good
so
enough.
Why
Sorry,
are there 10 places between us?
Because we had a shit
Does the table
season.
lie? Does the table lie?
The table doesn't lie, and I just told you we had a shit season. You know what? As I said, I'm even not
guarantee do you give me that next season you won't have a shit season?
He just said he keeps his best players. Elanga's going
there's no guarantee. But what I'm saying to you is it's taken Tottenham having a down year for you to get this off, because you know in your heart of hearts, if I asked you before a ball was kicked last year, who's better, Nottingham Forest or Tottenham, you would not be saying what you're saying now.
Yeah, agreed. But you're asking me now after balls have been kicked. That's the difference.
Okay, that's the difference. So as I said, I'm not going to go back and forth with a Forest fan, respectfully. Let's see how the season pans out. Even if we didn't sign another player from now till the window ends, I would consider it an abomination if we finish below you again.
Hey, Tobs,
so you think with your current squad versus my current squad, you would finish ahead of Forest this season coming?
We should be.
On what evidence?
We should be.
On what evidence?
On the fact that I'm not taking many of your players out of our squad. They're not that good. Anderson, baller. Murillo, baller. Who else?
Milenkovic, Gibbs White, Sells,
Anya, good player.
Okay, you've already named half my team already, and then you've said you weren't taking any of them.
I've named half your XI. I've not named half your team, because in case you haven't realized, you're playing in Europe this season. So you're not going to be able to play. You're not going to be able to play the same 11 every single week without. No, you're going to have to rotate, right? So when you start to rotate, right, on an already average squad,
that finished 10 places ahead of yours. Yeah.
What's that going to look like?
So your scenario, Tobs, with your current squad that finished 17th, that you just explained to us at the start of the show that's playing in more competitions, in a higher level of competition, the same logic has to apply with you, in fact, on a higher degree, because you're playing in the Champions League. Would that not make sense?
It does make sense. And again, I've not disputed that. I think we need more players.
Well, you have, because you have dismissed the fact that Forest would finish ahead of you with our squads currently as they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, great point. I'm talking about Forest. I didn't mention Chelsea. I didn't mention Arsenal.
I'm not mentioning them.
I mentioned specifically Nottingham Forest. Forest, Forest, Forest. I mentioned.
Thank you for not putting a double R.
No one else's club. I mentioned your club specifically. If Tottenham finished below Nottingham Forest, even if there was no additional signing to the current crop of players we've had now, I would consider that a massive failure again. I would.
Okay, so hypothetically, Forest finish first next season, Spurs finish second. You would consider that a massive failure?
That's a different circumstance.
Now it's different. Now it's different, yeah?
Bro, you know what I mean. Neither team are finishing first and second. That's a dumb hypothetical.
Okay, so Forest finished fifth. So Forest finished fourth or fifth, and you finish a place below us.
Forest aren't finishing fourth or fifth.
Yeah,
hypothetically, I'm saying to you, Forest finish ahead of you in fourth, and you finish fifth. That's a terrible season.
Hey, Dan,
I didn't say terrible season, but that's not a good enough season for me.
Yeah, let Ches come in. Go on. I want to know this.
What's more shocking, to you two, Forest getting relegated or Spurs finishing top 5?
Spurs finishing top 5.
What's more shocking? Spurs finishing
what would
top
you see
5.
What would you see as more like, that didn't shock me? Let's do opposite. What wouldn't shock you? Spurs finishing top 5 or like Forest battling relegation? Not getting relegated, but battling.
Oh, no, ain't changing what you're saying, Ches. Be consistent.
Shock me as much as like off there, I'd be like, oh damn, Spurs bounce back. But if you're comparing Spurs finishing top 5 to Forest getting relegated, I wouldn't bat an eyelid if Forest got relegated, because do you know what I mean? Like,
because where did Forest finish season before last?
And why is that, Lawless? Why is that?
Yeah, it's just it's because it's the history, it's the destiny. Like I said, Spurs, we've seen them up there many times, and I hate to say it, but we've seen Forest for nearly all our lives. We've seen Forest as a championship team.
Not true. It depends how long you like that.
You can't say that.
I would not be shocked to see Wolfie down there in 2 years. I would not be like, wow.
It's crazy.
Oh, now Ches,
Wolfie,
the parameters you've just put down, Ches, have changed 3 times in a minute.
Wolfie, you're so good. You lost Alanga. Who's Alanga? He lost him. But you're so good.
Wait, hold on. I haven't seen this. Alanga's been sold, has he? Where's breaking news?
He's going to be sold.
He's going to be breaking news.
Oh, let's live in cuckoo land. He's not going to be sold then, yeah? He's going to stay. Let's how about we live in that world? You know what, Lawless, you're keeping Kudus and you're gonna get your Mal. Let's do that, yeah. Come on, I live in reality.
He likes red and blue.
Ches, what are you talking about?
He's gonna go to Newcastle.
All right, Ches, let me ask you a question. Who would you think is more likely to get relegated next season? The 3 coming up or Forest?
Depends. I haven't seen them play. Like you said, see.
Okay. All right. Let's forget the 3 that you haven't seen play. Okay. Who's more likely to get relegated? West Ham or Forest?
I'll use Orlan. We have to see end of the window, see what they buy. You know.
I know, but when you wanted to ask them which would shock them more, it was okay. So I'm using your line now. Which one is it?
Yeah, but we're talking about Forest and Spurs, which we're saying it's far more likely. It's far more shocking if Spurs, far less shocking if Spurs.
Yeah.
In your opinion. So you think it's less shocking for a team to go 17th to 5th?
Can I zero in on this? Sorry, please, because you keep saying this. That is an anomaly. When was the last time you have seen Tottenham finish 17th? When? Give me the last 25 years of Premier League football. When was the last time you saw Tottenham finish 17th?
I remember seeing you avoid relegation by 4 points back in.
When was that?
I don't know, 95?
1995. So I said the last 25 years. 25 years. You said you're 23 years old. So I've even given you 2 years before you were born. 25 years.
I remember them years.
When was the last time?
Are you being serious right now? Are you being so serious right now?
Hey,
do you believe that he's 23?
I'm not. I'm obviously playing up to each stick.
Oh, okay, because you look so serious when you said it.
No, I'm not. I'm serious about my argument because you keep zeroing in on this 17th.